All right, thank you. Before we get started, I assume you can hear me in the back. Happy birthday, Mom. Happy first date. All right. Summertime. 1988. Nags Head, North Carolina. It was the week between the end of final exams and high school graduation. Some people call it Senior Beach Week, which is an odd little experiment, a bacchanalian rite of passage that seems to be somewhat unique to North America. I mean, imagine, think about it. We're taking our impressionable, young, rule-following youth who have class and teachers and principals and parents and rules and bell schedules and everything else, and we're saying, off to Beach Week, right? And what is Beach Week? Beach Week is girls, beer, no rules, no judgment, anything goes. Woohoo! Well, I was lucky enough to secure my own little block of real estate in bedroom 3, back left corner, on the floor, with a group of beautiful people, athletes, the intelligentsia of my high school. Now, I didn't fit neatly into any of those buckets. So I was flattered, honored, delighted to be there on this beach trip. One of the things that you should know about me is I actually get embarrassed kind of easily. I don't typically like to be the center of attention. But here I am on this beach trip, and the beautiful thing about beach trips back in the day was, what did you get? You got a catalog, paper, in the mail that you would look at, houses for rent. And as high school students, you would set a budget and get a job and save money and save for a house and pick a house. The beautiful thing about that is anticipation. You savor the anticipation of the experience months and months out in advance. You're dreaming about this beach trip, or at least I was. And nobody is handing you the keys to the beach house. I mean, I didn't grow up in Loudoun County, so it didn't happen to me. But when we're thinking ahead, we're also dreaming about what it's going to be like at this beach trip. So for me, what I'm dreaming about is I'm dreaming about maybe having a Jeep, which is odd because all I had was a little tiny car, but I'm dreaming about having a Jeep and driving it into the ocean, into the waves. I mean, I don't mean directly into the ocean. I mean like perpendicular to the waves, but the waves are coming over and there's 3 or 4 or 6 or 7 girls in the back, and the waves are crashing over and they're wearing bikinis, and I didn't plan ahead for what the rest of the story went, but it was exciting. And this is great because I'm looking forward to it. So 3 bad decisions. Bad decision number 1, on the way to the beach, I trade in my little car for a Jeep. Bad decision number 1. Bad decision number 2 is coming next. I pull up to the house. There's a deck in front. I'm the last to arrive. A dozen high school revelers. Whoop, 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 whoop. The music is playing. They're dancing. They're drinking. They're smoking. Everything is wild and crazy. And I pull up in the Jeep. Toot, toot. And everybody looks down. They're like, hey, it's Kit. Woo! A dozen. That's 12 people into the Jeep. This is where bad decision number 2 comes. Have you ever seen a crowded commuter bus in Karachi? There are people on the sides, on the back, in the front, on the top. There's no top. People are everywhere. We're breaking speed limits. We're running red lights. We're hopping curbs. But we made it back. We made it back safely. The next morning, my buddy, I confided to him about my dream, about the waves and the beach and the Jeep and the girls. And he says, Kid, we got to practice. I didn't know what he meant. So there's a couple parking lots nearby where at the end of the parking lot, a few blocks away, there is an entrance to the beach that's large enough for a vehicle to drive through. So we found that parking lot early in the morning, and we drive to the end of the parking lot, and we pass a sign that says, pedestrians, emergency, vehicles, only. And we drove past that sign with a nervous glance at each other. And what we noticed was the vehicle immediately lost speed. We weren't going as fast. The steering was not as stable as it used to be. We were going uphill, we lost speed. And this is a cut through of a dune. So if you can imagine, dune on the left, dune on the right, we're still going uphill. We couldn't see over the crest of the hill. We didn't know what was coming. Once we got to the crest of the hill, we realized, oh my goodness, it must not be that early in the morning. Look at all these people. I mean, there's beach chairs and blankets and volleyball nets and balls and kids. Lots and lots of kids, like everywhere. There is nowhere to drive a Jeep on this beach. It's scary. So we basically have three options. We're at the crest of the hill. We can turn left, go up the dune and back down and turn around and go back. We can turn right, go up the dune, back down, turn around and go back. Or we can just put it in reverse and gently, gradually back away, and hopefully no one will notice. We chose option 3. Well, guess what? We put it in reverse, nothing happened. More accelerator, nothing happened. Maybe we're stuck. Uh-oh. So we get out, we survey the damage, okay? We get out, go around to the back of the vehicle. Sure enough, sand up to the bumper of a 1979 Jeep CJ5. Wheels buried, okay? No problem, right? This vehicle comes equipped with 4-wheel drive. Okay, let's get back into the vehicle. There's a funny little shift down below the actual gear shift, which somehow miraculously is supposed to put it in 4-wheel drive. Let's just play with this a little bit. Nothing happens. All right, somebody said something about locking the hubs. Let's get out and look at the hubs. Okay, so we turn the hubs, nothing happens. We kick the hub, nothing happens. We take a beer can, we hit the beer can onto the hub, and then we do it 2 or 3 or 7 more times. Nothing happens. All right, we're stuck. Now what do we do? All right, I have a plan. No problem. We are going to go around, my buddy and I, to the back of the vehicle. You take the passenger side. I will take the driver's side. Get down on your hands and knees. We're going to dig. We're going to dig with our hands and knees. It is hot. We're going to push the sand away from the vehicle. No problem. We got this. So my buddy does a great job and gives me a good full 30 or 45 seconds worth of effort, and then says, "This is stupid. I'm gonna go get us a tow truck." And he leaves. He ditches me, leaves me with the evidence, twice the amount of effort, and guess what? A whole bunch of people walking back and forth looking at, you guessed it, me. I don't like this. I don't like the embarrassment. Heads down. I am going to dig. All right, I'm gonna make this happen. The first family that I happen to notice that's actually talking about me, and there's a whole bunch of people walking back and forth constantly. I mean, there's a parking lot behind us, there's a beach in front of us. Apparently it's the middle of the day. We thought it was early in the morning, but there's a lot of traffic going on here. First family, oddly enough, in North Carolina, is British. It's a Mary Poppins-ish figure with 5 little ducklings in tow, and she says, "I know it's hot. I know you're tired. Just put 1 foot in front of the other and ignore the strange man on the ground." And all the little ducklings, of course, have to look down at me, but I keep on digging. And the last duckling has to say, "But Mommy, however could he be so foolish?" I think about this for 30 years. Okay, and then next up, coming from the parking lot, the opposite direction, an old man, and he's coming and he's walking, and I can hear him coming from behind me. "That is 78 or 79, it might be a 77, but it's got a 304, that's a V8. My goodness, he's got a 4-wheel drive. Why doesn't he just put it in 4 and back that sucker out of there?" Well, I ignore him and keep on digging. Next up, coming from the beach, leaving with surfboard, he's got, cool dude, he's got the white stuff on his nose and he's walking up the beach. Dude, been there, done that, man. "Can I lend you a hand, man?" And I'm like, that would be awesome. I'm like, really? Dude, and he just keeps on going. I couldn't believe it. And then we've got the Karens, okay? We've got this couple of yuppies that are coming from the parking lot, and they get there and they're like, excuse me, you do realize what you're doing is entirely illegal, right? I ignore them and keep on digging, okay? Next up, I mean, by this point, it's hot. I mean, I've been doing a lot of digging. My plan was to dig down to the firm embodiment of the base layer of sand that's firm and packed, right? So you gotta get past all of those top layers of sand, get rid of all that stuff, right? And I told you, we're down to the bumper. So this is a lot of digging, people. I mean, a lot of digging. But there is a firm layer of sand down there somewhere, and I've got all this work to do, and my job is to get about 8, 10, maybe 12 feet worth of runway so that I can run this Jeep back as fast as I can and get it back to the parking lot. And I'm working really hard. I'm hot, sweaty. I've taken off my shirt at this point. I'm sweating, but I could feel the penetrating glances of this woman coming from the beach, and she's working as hard as I am. And I could feel her coming, and then I looked up, and sure enough, there she was, and she was coming, and she was sweating, and she had like 13 chairs on this arm, and a bunch of towels, and a cooler, and a whole bunch, like a big beach bag, and a bunch of other stuff, and she's weighted down. And she's coming towards me, and she's got flip-flops, and the sand is hot, you know, and it's hard to walk. And I knew she was gonna have something to say. And sure enough, she gets right up, right over top of me, and she drops the load, and she unloads on me. Look like something my dumbass husband would do. And she scooped up her load, and she turned, and she walked away. And as she turned to walk away and walk back towards the parking lot, I could hear her muttering to herself, "Should be ashamed of herself." And 30 years later, I've been thinking about this, and I think, poignant, perfect, precise. I mean, she nailed it. I was a dumbass. I mean, but the thing that I you know, as I replay this in my mind over the years, I think, 18-year-old dumbass, yeah, man. I mean, I thought of this as like, this is a high school dumb move, right? But she's comparing me to the rest of male humanity. I mean, husband of many years. I mean, I'm getting lumped into everything, and I'm thinking, what's coming? But I did think, you know, good on you. That was really good. And oh, by the way, I finished the digging. I backed the Jeep out. I made it out just as the tow truck arrived, and I got it out of there on my own. And I think to myself, you know, as much of a dumbass as I was, I didn't hurt anybody. I thankfully didn't prevent the emergency vehicle from getting access to the beach. I lived to tell about it, and it was a pretty decent story to tell, so there you go.